doing? It's me, Adam, again, Hoosier Garage. And we're back looking here at the 72 Dodge B200 Tradesman cargo van. I have been a little bit under the weather this week, and I'm actually contemplating how much I'm going to be able to do on Saturday. Hopefully I'll feel better by then. Right now it's Thursday though, so I'm looking at some possibilities here of something I can do today. And as much as I'd hate to do it, this right here is the only identity that the van really has. It has no doors, cargo or passenger, rear cargo, none of that. No emblems. So I kind of come up here and look at it, and so, yeah, I recognize that. But I'm thinking as a motivational tactic to go ahead and take all this off and have it prepared, just like the doors here soon, for stripping and painting and priming and all that fun business. So I might start taking the hood off, and then we'll just see how that progresses from there. I don't have a hood prop for it. I don't know. I think it's supposed to be right there. We'll just figure a way. That'll work. I think when they designed this broom, it was designed just for the Dodge vans. Might be a good idea to put this on here so I don't damage the paint or the broom. One good thing about this van, although I have metric, it's going to take mostly standard. We got a 1/2 inch on the hood. Last car I redid was an 81 Camaro, and it had kind of a hodgepodge of mostly standard, but occasionally you run into metric. Now this isn't, I wouldn't say very heavy, it's small. But we ain't got to take it all the way out, we're going to just loosen it up. About like that. For the sake of something, I'm going to put my gloves on. We're going to be real gentle about this. Kind of setting on the wiper arm pivot. This is helping us out. There we go. There we go. Now, this can come off. Now, most people would normally use one of them little zip out things, but the problem is, one on my battery isn't even charged, so I tend to like to do it by hand anyway. So on this one, you got screws all the way along the bottom here under where the hood lip would be, and you don't have any on top. They're all inside the gills here. Looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 6 more there. And I'll show you how I usually put the nuts and bolts away in a second. cowl. Oh yeah. So usually on stuff like bolts, I'll take the bolts that came out of it that held it to the hinges and I'll screw them back into the side of the hood. That way you don't really misplace them or jumble them up with some other bolts that you don't really know why you got them. Okay, so we can take this off. We don't have any risk of scratching the rust now. And I guess we'll take off the old grill if we can. For some reason I have this feeling that these screws might be a little sticky. We'll find out. Snap! Oh, and let me grab a couple of the trays. I'll show you how I can do the small stuff, little screws. Okay, so if you notice, I did a video when I first started doing the channel. It's called Parts Organization. I've got a huge shelf back there that has all my past and present project parts car type pieces in it. And these are cassette tape. Remember what those are? Cassette tape? Cassette tape trays. And I got a load of them. Loads of them. So these ones that aren't designated for anything, I'll take them. And then I'll take all the screws that went to that cowl and they'll go in here. And then I'll put a label on it here in a bit. And for the grill, we can do the same thing. Just put all the screws in there, put a label on it, and then we'll just take all the trays and put them in like areas. So if I put the hood and the cowl over in the corner or back in the shed or something, I put all that stuff with it so that when we go to pull it out later, it's all together, it's kind of as a general perspective of the vehicle. So might work for you. It's always worked for me pretty good. I'm gonna guess that this grill's probably never been taken off by the squeaky sounds that it makes. In fact, it doesn't look like the screws have ever even been touched, other than when they were installed. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Got one fighting me. Ah! Saw that move a bit. So far we're batting 1,000. There's one of them screws, what they look like when they give you a hard time. Tells you absolutely nothing. But oh yeah, these are the ones I'm in fear of. They just look like they're squatters. Bit more leverage. I knew it. Knew it. Nope. Our batting average went down. Try some pine tar. Here I'm trying to shoot it where it gets in. There's a bracket, like an L bracket that comes down that screws in here. If I get it to soak down through here, it might get into the threads a little different. I'm also looking for opinions out there on this grill. When you bought these new, you got two styles. You either had the steel stamped grill like this one that was painted, and they'd usually either be painted the color of the rest of the van, or they'd be painted white, like with the bumper, kind of like a lot of the old trucks was. In a lot of cases, you had the bright aluminum bright work grill that was made out of aluminum. You know, it was real shiny, almost like chrome, and you have a chrome bumper. Well, this grill is in excellent shape. It just needs refinished. Got some, a little bit of pitting, some scaling. It clean up though, but it's in really good condition. So some of them were bright silver, and then the body color. So I'm debating on whether to do it back in white, which seems to be an off-white, or get the powder coat in the bright aluminum or chrome or whatever they call it. I think it'd look alright. Has anybody else out there dealt with that? Stuff looks good, but not sure. Aha. A little bit of a fight, but it came loose. Some of the head on it's kind of worn or rusted down, so well, boys, we're still batting 1,000. I'm guessing. There is 2 more screws. I don't know how I didn't see that. Oh, there's one here and one there. They're setting further back in there. Goodness. We might as well give it some jungle juice. Alright, so I let both these soak for about 10 minutes. This one just clicked. That's good. One more. Just one more is all I ask. And I hit both of them with a hammer too. Yes! No, that wasn't my bones breaking. And I did that one time on a truck. I was trying to take off the door striker, and I heard that noise, but it didn't sound as crisp. It sounded kind of dull. And then about 5 seconds later, my hand was wreathing in pain because all the tendons inside rolled over each other when I was doing that. So my hand was pretty much useless for about 3 weeks. Oh no. Okay, moment of truth, right? Oh, the guy's holding it. So the lights here look like they are fossilized into the housings. Now these are a little different from the ones I'm used to. I'm used to the cars that are, as far as Mopar, mostly 73 and up. And they might not be different, they just look different. Usually those where they kind of clicked in, you snapped them or spun them so far then they'd slip out. And these look more like they was intended to be in there forever. We're careful, these will fit it. Right in the jaws there pretty good. Maybe we can turn it and see what it is. Come on. Well, we might have to take the lens off to get a better look at it. One thing you gotta remember, unless somebody's changed these bulbs, let's say they haven't, then these things have been on there since Nixon was taping phone conversations in the White House, so that turned. And I kind of like it not making the big sound when you're dealing with plastic. Although these look like they're pretty far gone. But usually that snap is followed by a crumble. a crumble and disappointment. So it's got these kind of unusual. Put them in the grill. The grill box. There's our lens. See how they look? All stressed. Here's the bulb. They don't look like these necessarily. They probably come out. Yeah, that's what I figured. They don't look like they come out at the socket. Then they come out at the connector, and it's all assembled. Lesson learned. So let's go ahead and follow through, I guess. That's why you don't want to get too gung-ho with some of the stuff, try to crank it out of there sideways and just pull it out, because then you realize it wasn't meant to be done that way. And I was given a little bit of encouragement, kind of going side to side, but I saw it didn't have any give to it. Sometimes you get the little sheet metal clickers in there that clicks it into place and you pull it out, but that's not the case here. It's kind of pressed in there. If you're familiar with the Mopar, the way they connect their distributors, especially on electronic ignition, they got the two rubber connectors that click in. One's looks female, one's male. It's the exact same thing here on these. And I don't know if they've never been in the park. We might be looking at some Watergate era stuff there too. There we go. There we go. One of them's yellow, one of them's black. Just ripping the dust off. Hey, there we go. So that's what I'm talking about right there. And the other end looks exactly like it, and they can turn around either way. So there we go. On the grill. Now come on out now. Time for supper. Ah! There you go. You got him, guys. Now to give you an idea of what I have, what I was telling you about, I got one of these. If you look at it, it's pretty sorry. When I bought the van, the gentleman gave it to me. I mean, the tab's all crashed up here, so it's one of those sad situations. Like, you can see where it would look good, but your eyes kind of tell you. Well, I mean, from the camera, it looks all right. That don't look good, boys. But enough of that. What we're looking at here now is kind of ugly, but it's a necessary ugly. I don't really want to take the bumper off yet. Let's not get into that. I don't feel like crawling around on the ground. But on these, unlike many other vans, a lot of the radiator support, grill support, is removable. And Chrysler suggested originally that if you ever have to replace the engine or take it in and out, you come out this way. Whereas a lot of them, they'll take it out through the door. I guess you could still do it on these, but the engineers at Chrysler said right out here. This panel here that you see all the rust on, that's going to need some work. So that's the piece that removes, as well as this strip across here. Let's see how far we can get it. The radiator is bolted here. I could probably leave it setting in there and kind of work it away from it. Oh yeah, this I was poking around with this, and the spring had broke, the little adjuster spring, which I think I got some more of them in the back. All this looks like the same stuff that was on the cars, the same hardware. I know these little bumper things here for the hood, they're the same. So that's pretty cool. You got a lot of interchangeability between cars, trucks, vans, all that stuff. Same result. Same result. Make this our radiator support bolt tray. This one's got a nut behind it. Alright. We'll just stick them back together. Do the equivalent over here. Now we've done a few things where we've deviated from our first project on this van, and that's all the sheet metal work, all the de-rusting and restoration of anything that's rotted away or banged up or whatever. But as long as you've had that much focus on something, it's okay to do small deviations here and there. And I explained it with the console video to help keep you going motivationally and all this stuff. I have double reasons. One, I want to keep you all entertained, informed, what's going on, and keep uploading my videos so you're interested. So I'm not just boring you to death with just constant sheet metal, constant sheet metal. Plus it helps keep me motivated. 2 or 3 or wherever we're at. Another reason for me, I ordered 2 quarter panels for the back. Now if you're familiar with that, I've showed you. You know what I'm talking about. Got 2 quarter panels. I got panel bond on the way. So it looks like they haven't even mailed my quarter panels yet. So that might be a few days. We might not be doing it this Saturday. So we might go into the detailed kind of stuff on the sheet metal. And for right now, I thought, well, this is something I'm going to have to do here shortly anyway. I'm going to say that horn ain't no good. That's the first time I've ever had a rotted horn. No wonder it didn't work. Looks like I think the battery got that one. Yeah, battery sits right here. That was right under it, so the battery ate it up. Plastic and all. So it looks like this piece connects to that piece. That right there. Remember, if you're getting a pinch doing that, me specifically, there is that service manual which shows how all this comes apart. It's kind of fun to see if you can figure it out organically without tearing anything up. Now this one's a little different. I'm going to point it out here in the video. The other ones have the built-in or the loose washer that's kind of on there. This one's got a lock washer and it doesn't have the tip on it. So that one will go here. One good thing about videos, even like pictures, try to take pictures of all your projects. If not videos, take pictures of everything. That's how it was together before you took it apart. And that way, you don't have to guess at it later. You can always look at somebody else's, but sometimes they might do something a little different. It might throw you off. Or they might not add something back. You know what I mean? Whereas when it's yours, it's uniquely yours. Like if some of them have air conditioning, some of them don't. That could be all the world difference where a bolt or a nut or something goes clip. I traditionally have always taken pictures. And plus, if you take pictures of everything before and after, this is actually good advice. And I really ran across it because of like my dad, alright? So you take pictures before and after. One, it helps you put it back together and see what it looks like just for reference, nostalgic, whatever. But also, if you are a person who you want to go in a different direction, but when you go to sell it, the person considering buying it can feel really confident in what they're buying because they're seeing before, after, and they're kind of seeing what's underneath the paint. If you took a lot of the correct measures in restoration, where it's not just a mystery. I wonder what's under that paint, and then they find a bunch of chicken wire and paint stir sticks. What it looks like there is a series of bolts on this piece that go. You kind of see the curve behind the bumper here. It's 1, 2, 3, at least 3 here, and then 3 over 2 over here. This piece is pretty loose after we took those out. And we do have our windshield washer bottle right here. You can see where it kind of clicks in. A screw up here. Flathead, it looks like no left. That's in there pretty good. Flathead, that's different. That's so. I'll let that set for a minute. I'm noticing this one, the bumper might be pretty easy to take off. Yeah, there's bolts. It's kind of like the back bumper. There's a bolt here, here. There's 2 on the inside. Same thing over here. So without having to get into the carriage bolts, and it's not necessarily bolted back into the bracketry into the frame. That's probably the way to go. So that'll be pretty easy. I'll have to say, in general, what I've noticed about these vans is they was designed really well. They weren't designed new age where everything's hard to work on, but they were designed accessible, and they used a lot of the car stuff, like I stated before. And that's a good thing, really. Okay, I might be able to try this flathead screw. It's like a toughie though. Ooh, hear that? Okay. So I got a little clip with the bolt. So this bit is out. That's your latch for the hood and the top of the radiator support. So a lot of dirt dauber nest going on in there. So I see another bolt down here, the radiator 2 bolts and 2 bolts, and then another one. It's basically a mirror image. There's a bolt on the corner holding it to this, and then the radiator itself is holding these together, it looks like. Some oil on it. Probably suffered a little bit of that battery acid. This side shouldn't have that much. Now sometimes those batteries, if they get to leaking, if they leak on the bolt, it'll shrink the head of the bolt like 20% of its size. So what used to be a 1/2 inch is now a 3/8. What used to be a 3/8 is now a 1/4. What do you think of that? Pretty nasty. We might have to replace that one. Okay, so the radiator is holding. It's loose from the body. Looks a lot cleaner over here. Now I might have to wire this up because there's really nothing underneath it for it to set on. Okay, now's a good time to wire it up. Just a big spool of wire. You can buy this at like a farm store. $10 maybe, I don't know. It's been a while. run it through, right here. Give it a little twisty twist. Bring it about up where the stock location would be. Pull it taut like that. There. Something like that. Go ahead and get our other piece ready. Now's a good time to hold on to the radiator on this other side. One, it helps you get the bolt out a little smoother. Two, you don't want it dropping one corner down on the ground. Bust. There we go. Now we got these two guys out. And it's not a bad thing at this time, since I'm not necessarily familiar with these specifically, to put an LH and an RH left and right on it. Now I just went ahead and laid that with the piece that came across here, because it's all really one piece anyway, really. So kind of keep all that little pile together. Our hood, our cowl, and our grill are over here next to that in their own organized little pile. And then our bolts that pertain to all this radiator stuff here, we'll just lay with the other stuff. Same thing with our cowl. I wrote on the inside of it, cowl 72 van. As well as our grill with 72 van. We'll just remove it from the equation. Retainer brackets are 5/8. Yep. Get a breaker bar. Bigger bar. Yeah, that's a little trick, right? Just be careful. Establish a new tray for our bolts. By the bumper. And if you're wondering if the fenders come off on these, I don't think they do. At least not by bolts. They are kind of unistructured into the body. Ta-da! So fast, huh? Almost like it's kind of wedged on there. Boom, like that. That was tight. Screw even further. Wow. Okay, so this piece is part of the unit construction. I could tell because it has spot welds holding it into here. And it looks like it has some here on the frame. So that will not come off. Alright, so we did quite a bit in the period of time that we did it in. Considering it's our first time with one of these. And I'll show you up close what we got going on here. Alright, so we're going to take a look up close. After you watch me take this whole front end apart, I'll probably go ahead and pull this off, but just a couple bolts. But yeah, not too difficult. Just knowing where everything is. One thing I pointed out in the last sheet metal video was the rot that occurred here. It's pretty brittle. It's from the battery pan or battery tray that had rotted. Looks like about 70% of it's gone. And whatever came through and it ate the horn. Never had a horn rot apart, but that's first. And then we got this apron right under here, inner fender, whatever you want to call it. So we'll have to rebuild that and put a new pan in here, or tray. I keep saying tray, pan, whatever. Build a new tray, put it in there. It'll get spot welded to the sides. And looks like we got a little bit of the lip here to build. But other than that, I think we're in pretty good shape. Here's the first items we took off the hood, the cowl. Here's the pieces, the screws and everything for it. And then we got the grill itself. There's bolts for the bumper. And all the stuff for the grill, the hardware. Same thing back there. And then we took these little pieces off here, the little side portion and the top of the radiator support. There's the windshield wiper bottle and all the bolts that holds that stuff in. And then we're going to bring this in here in a second, but it's the front bumper. If you like what you see, you like what you learn, you like following along with this whole restoration, it's starting to get interesting. We're kind of moving out of the sheet metal, we're getting that finished up and getting into all this other fun stuff. So just make sure you subscribe, you know, a little button down there, a little bell that goes, and let us know what you think. Leave something in the comments. Appreciate it. Thanks for watching.